Okay, I'd like to call the Board of Commissioners meeting to order, please, and ask everybody to rise. I have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome everybody to the May 30th Board of Commissioners meeting. Roll call, please.
Brooks.
Present.
Bear.
Present.
Ziegler.
President.
Sykes.
Present.
Overmeyer.
Here, open meetings law is posted on the south side of our chambers. It's in the hallway outside of our chambers. It is also on the website. Proof of publication was on the website as well as in the News Times May 25th. Next up, we need to review and approve the minutes of our May 16th Board of Commissioner meeting, please.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Sykes.
Yes.
Bear.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Ziegler.
Yes.
And Overmeyer.
Yes, and adopt today's agenda.
I move to adopt the agenda.
Thank you, Stan.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Bear.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Ziegler.
Yes.
And Overmeyer.
Yes, officials.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning. Morning.
Good morning, Harry. Just a quick update on the projects on Road 20. They have the rails formed up. They have the pier on the east bridge formed up. I would anticipate they will get those poured this week. Down on Road 2 is open. It now just needs seeding done on it. Road K, they are working on building the road over top of the box. They have to take the forms off of a drop pipe that goes into the box. I would anticipate they will have that one open by the end of the week. Road O, down by Sachs Lake, the guardrails are up on the bridge, the approach rails. The dirt work is mostly done south of the bridge. They have a little bit more to do there and some on the north side. And that one I'm anticipating will probably get open pretty much by the end of the week, and there'll just be seeding left to do on that. So there's where your big projects are and as they're coming along. So we should be able to make our deadline on our budget for the 2 and K. Other than that, we are just hauling rock, building roads, trying to blade roads, and that's what we're up to. So
You've been in communication with them, Harv, about the Van Kirks, that is, about the
Yes.
billing timelines and the
Yes.
2 billing periods left.
yes,
Okay.
and he thought they was going to, when I talked to him last week, he thought they was going to be able to meet them. The one on Road 2, they just got to measure up the amount of seating they have to have, what they have to get to go. So it's coming along quite better than I anticipated.
Well,
Mother Nature has worked well.
lack of
with that
moisture,
part.
I'm sure, has helped us. Now we're
It
ready for
has.
some moisture anytime.
Yes, we are.
Okay, anybody else have anything for Harv this morning?
Good. Thanks.
Thanks, Harv.
You bet.
Morning, Chris.
Good morning. So the county attorney's office is under construction. We have posted alerts here at the courthouse on the front doors for anybody coming in, but it's going to take most of the week, if not all week, to make sure that everything gets in and gets completed before the office can be 100% back up and running. For now, everybody is working remotely. All of my staff have checked in with me this morning. I guess not all of my staff, all of the staff, excuse me. Now, unfortunately, that also means that for now, zoning is going to be down. I will be coming in, checking everything, but for right now, there's nowhere for anybody to take permits. The entire office is, the carpet is down, but for almost all of the office, But it's not gonna be this week before we're up and running again. So it happened to hit at exactly the time where we had a holiday on one day and no court the entire week. And so it really worked well. But if anybody is needed, email is gonna be the best way to reach us. Otherwise, I believe you've got our cell phones, so.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Any other? Okay. Public comment time. Anybody from the public that would like to come forward and comment about anything for a couple minutes may do so at this time.
I think it's been a couple weeks. Willard Peterson, 514 Road 13, York, Nebraska, but I am a resident of Bradshaw. Talked to the Postal Service about why my address is York. Anyway, some things that have come to my attention and so forth, which has to do with housing, and it hit kind of close to home. A semi-good friend of mine and a person that you guys have interest, I'm not gonna mention names, but it has to do with the fact that they've been renting a house for a long time. The owner of that house has decided to sell it, and these people are not in a position or really in a place they want to buy. Myself and several other people have been working diligently to try to find them a place to rent. And guys, there just isn't anything, unless you wanna pay way more for rent than, you know that, but just keep in the back of your head, and cause we've talked about it, everybody's talked about it for a long time, no matter what kind of housing you wanna live in, there's a way shortage of that, there just is. And like I said, this kid hits close to home, because they're friends of mine, they're also people that you have a vested interest in. And so it's gonna hurt. And anyway, that's the only comment. I know there's people working on it. I know Daniel's on one group that's working on it diligently. But just keep thinking about it, whatever you can do.
Thank you, Willard. Anybody else from the public this morning?
Just to tag on to what Willard was saying, I was at the memorial service in Waco yesterday, and so one of those city fathers came up and said, there's $1 million that's come to the community, and he thought that was gonna be those kind of funds were gonna be going to the rural communities rather than just to York again. Here it's been applied to York. And the housing situations in the rural towns need to be developed, and he was disappointed that it went again to a York area rather than to the Benedicts, the Bradshaws, the York Wacos or something, and thought that the understanding was that it was gonna be handed out that other way. So, yeah, housing is at a premium right now, in all the communities, not just York or Bradshaw or whatever.
Okay, nobody else from the public. We'll continue on down the agenda. There is no reason for executive session or general assistance case. Review and approve payroll and vendor claims. There are no additional claims at this time, so it's just what's in front of us. If anybody has any questions, I don't know if you've got your questions answered yet or not. And we're also getting down to the time of the year where we have 2 more vendor claim periods left, and we will be talking about a little budget transfer in the month of June for a couple of them, I'm sure.
Some fairly large road contracts this time around. I did have somebody stop me and tell me that we were doing a good job on keeping our infrastructure up and running, so that's always encouraging.
Yeah.
I would make a motion that we approve the payroll and vendor claims as presented.
Thank you, Daniel.
Second.
Whichever one you grab, thank you to both of them. Okay, any other discussion? Roll call.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Overmark.
Yes. Okay, next up, we have authorized county treasurer to disperse collected fines. Funds to come out of inheritance fund for these collected fines. These are fine monies that go to, public schools. Megan, if you would, please, probably didn't expect to, but from what I seen over the weekend when I looked at this, the numbers were a little bit different than what I had previously.
I haven't changed anything, so.
The numbers that I have, are the numbers that are calculated with interest that was done by Jill.
Oh, okay.
And that is different than these
Yes,
numbers.
okay. Yep, oh, that
So,
makes sense.
I'm not sure how we want to go forward with that. The numbers that were in your packets, what I have is for, Sutton, $230.45. For Fillmore Exeter Milligan, I got $516.37. For Hamilton, I got $67.77. For Polk Cross County, I got $7,135.40. For Polk High Plains, I got $1,138.45. For Seward Centennial, I got $18,852.37. For York Public, I got $124,691.42. For York McCool, I got $15,628.88. And for York Heartland, I got $33,007.33. Those are with the interest monies.
Okay.
So those monies, we'll get that spreadsheet changed, so we'll get these changed so I can sign those too.
Yep.
Grand total of $201,268.43. Okay, these are funds that was collected, through the fine process, through our court system, and these will be reimbursed to these schools.
And they're allocated on percentage, size of the district, or where the fine took place? Did they go back to the school district where the fine was? How does that divvied
Yeah,
out?
it has to do with the number of kids that go to each school. The school board comes up with the numbering, so, or the, percentage. So yeah, I just plug those into a spreadsheet and to calculate that.
But these are fines that are collected from York County.
Right.
Yeah, through the court system.
I know we, as a school administrator, we always look forward to those monies coming in.
I'm sure you did.
Kind of freebies or whatever. Speed in York, you know.
Well, I don't know that we want to encourage that. Okay.
Interesting idea for a county slogan.
Okay,
I would go ahead and make a motion that we authorize county treasurer to distribute collected fines, taking the funds from the inheritance tax fund.
thank you,
Second.
thank you. Any other discussion, gentlemen? Roll call, please.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Overmark.
Yes, and we'll get together afterwards and make sure we make those changes. Thank you. No funding transfers that I'm aware of. Discuss an act on 2023 Exhibit A docs for transit application. Good morning.
Good morning.
Lori Myers, Public Transportation. It's that time to re-sign our Exhibit A documents for public transportation. And I'm wondering if this is something that you want me to bring every year, or if this is something that you want to discuss with the board about just having you sign every year. I can continue bringing.
Let's just keep bringing it.
Pardon?
Let's
Okay.
just keep bringing
Okay.
it.
Sounds good.
with the board, you know, the changes that happen on the board
Yeah.
and, you know, leadership changes
Okay.
possible, so let's just bring it.
I just hate taking up your time, but,
You're fine.
okay, so this is for the grant cycle, July 1st, 2023 through June 30, 2025, but this document has to be signed every fiscal year, even though the budget document is 2 fiscal years. And so this is just the document for this upcoming fiscal year starting June 1st. So-
July 1st.
July 1st, I'm sorry, yes, July 1st, thank you.
You're welcome.
And so, I have it ready and flagged for your signature.
Okay, any questions, gentlemen?
We went over the budget already, I believe, and, there's nothing that's changed in the
No,
document.
This
since-
document is the same every single year. The only thing I do update is it talks about, the current year in our labor. I put in the, anything adjusted about number of employees, things like that, I update. So.
Okay.
Okay, that's
No
all I
questions?
have.
Thanks, Lori. You'll leave that up here and we'll sign it, get it back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so that we will need permission to sign.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second?
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Sykes,
Yes.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Overmeyer.
Yes. Okay, discuss and act on send drawdown number 8, county match of 3,000.
What
Go
we
ahead.
did last time was the drawdown number 8. What money that was given to us from the state, that's what we paid. I didn't see on there that they did the $3,000 that was held for lead paint. So that was on there and I completely missed it. I just went off of what the state money gave to us, so we just need to okay that. That was our match of the 50,000, that's what's left is that 3,000. Then we'll be done with our match and, the rest would be the money we get from Send and the state.
So the original contract, if you will, through Send, for us was $500,000 money for renew or for rehabbing homes. And county share was 10%, 50,000 we put in for administrative costs to run it. And, this is the end of that 50,000 that we had set aside, to pay our share. It was just missed. And, so leading back into a little bit what was talked about before, you know, this money came and it had to be county, but it couldn't be rural, it had to be communities. And this was one that was used for all the communities. Unfortunately, when we get to our outlying communities, participation is just not there. You know, they held off a lot of them in York in hopes of getting other ones coming. And it's unfortunate that they don't want to be involved, but then when they say why isn't there any money for us? Well, there was money, and then they don't get involved. You know, so, but this has been one. So this is clearing that up that's why it's the same drawdown 8. So we'll need a motion to accept that.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
and Overmeyer.
Yes. Discuss and act on blended distilling addition of an outdoor area approximately 120 by 60, and I believe it says approximately, but that's what the
That's
map shows too.
Yeah.
This was in front of us earlier this year for the liquor license, and he had an opening, I believe it was towards the 1st of May, somewhere in there, and now they are adding an additional outside area that is gonna be at the tasting room. Once again, it's a tasting room, it isn't an outdoor bar or anything like that. So this has to come back in front of us again to allow that.
I believe, Mr. Keller is here.
Yes.
Do you have anything you wanna share with the board?
I think it's pretty plain and simple. It's just basically outdoor fence area. state requirements to have a permanent fence structure, to have alcohol outside of the building, yet still contained.
Very good.
Just for the record, and I apologize, I didn't
Sorry,
know
Garrett
you were sitting
Keller,
there.
owner of
Thank you.
Blended Distilling.
Thank you. Any questions?
Is the fence up or you plan to put it up?
The fence is up.
Okay.
State requirements, before I can apply for the permits, I
Yep.
have to have it up and ready to go.
Okay, very good.
Well, while you're here, how's it been going so far?
Not too bad. It's been a soft open, so slow and steady. Gives us time to make sure all safety requirements are met and that we can, just keep things flowing smooth.
Okay. Any other questions of Dan while he's here? Okay, we will need a motion for this also.
I so move.
Thank you, Stan.
Second,
Thank you. Any other discussion?
thanks for taking time to come
Absolutely.
be here and
Thank you.
answer any questions.
Roll call, please.
Bear,
Yes.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
and Overmeyer.
Yes. Thank you, Dan. Good luck to your new business out there.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we had discussed an act on juvenile diversion state grant. Couple of gentlemen we know in front of us,
Good morning. So,
even though we know you, we're gonna make you say who you are.
this is Tristan Perry, York County Diversion Coordinator. And so today, we're just, go ahead.
Brennan Cole, AMP program.
Okay,
Awesome. So yeah,
thank you.
we just came with all the approval for the JS grant, which is making Brennan full-time in July, so that's awesome. And just to answer any questions today, we'll have to go, act to have you sign when we get the award come in. And so we still have some contingencies to send this week, and then they send us the award, if that makes sense.
So this will be to, what did you need on the agenda today for then?
So they sent us the acceptance of the funds.
Right,
And so once I send the contingencies, they're gonna send us an award that you'll have to sign, that we, kind of similar to the CB one that showed just the amount and all the rules and regulations that we have to follow, and then me, you, and Kelly sign that last page.
okay.
Yeah.
So this today is accepting the award then?
Right,
Okay.
right.
And I don't believe it was in the material that's in our packet, but it was in the material that I got emailed saying the award had been granted.
Okay,
This looked like this award was it was a funded award that had timeframes on it, meaning up to 2 years
right.
fully
Yeah.
funded, and then after that, it was a step-down process.
Yes, and I have that with me if you guys would want, I should have made copies, but
Essentially, it was 2 years at 100%,
yes.
and then 25% reduction for years after that.
Pretty much.
So the fourth year
Yeah.
would be, if the commissioners decided to continue on with it, even after the 2 years,
Right.
it would start costing the county a percentage of that.
Yeah, and I have to check with them because they say you have the 2 years of the same level of funding. Rochelle got the JS grant this this fiscal year for 23, and so I believe going kind of like the step up will make it a different level of funding and kind of my perception of it, and so I think we would restart the 2 years, and so we'd have until 2025, and then fiscal year 2026 would be that drop down, I believe,
Okay,
but I have to double check and see if that's their perspective of it.
If that's, because they're the ones that make the rules. It
Exactly.
would be their rules, not our perception. The only reason I'm bringing it up is because obviously the board has been on board with this, but they've been on board with it using the state funded dollars, not
Exactly.
county funded dollars. And I just want everybody to be perfectly clear that there will be a time, if this continues on, where that money is transferred back to the local level. And, so that will be a decision made at that point in time by this board.
Right.
And really, that's just typical of any grant program. Eventually, it gets weaned away, and if it's any good, then the program that applied for the grant somehow finds a way to fund it, or it goes away. So,
Yep.
keep doing a good job.
Yeah, definitely. And the good thing is our other grant doesn't have that drop-down process, so, yeah, this one would be right now the minority of the program money, so.
Okay. But this grant was for, I believe, $66,000.
$846, yeah.
Okay. And that should be benefits, wages, benefits,
Yes.
and everything.
Yep, so yeah, I did apply for like 1,500 more for incentives and stuff, but they said we can't have that, so they're just paying the wages and salary and stuff.
Okay.
So,
Any questions for them today?
You answered, or you both answered my question was gonna be that looked like maybe we didn't get the full amount that we had requested,
Right.
and so.
yeah.
Move that we accept the grant award.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Stigler,
Yes.
Fair,
Yes.
and Oglesby.
Yes, and then the time frame that'll be back again, well, that'll be yet this month, won't it, prior to?
Yeah, once I send the contingency today or tomorrow, then they should get it by next week, and then you'll have the award to sign and everything.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, we're just a few minutes ahead of Aflac contract talk. I will talk briefly just a little bit about the planning and zoning. I have not had an opportunity to look through it. There was a couple of applications that were turned in, because of the long weekend and because they weren't turned in until Friday. Daniel and myself have not had an opportunity to look at them, so we will look at them today, I would assume, or
Sure.
sometime.
Yep.
Here directly in between, the next meeting, and then come back with a recommendation. Would you agree with
Yeah,
that?
I think,
The
yep.
synopsis, but there was
Right.
two that were turned in. Anything else you have on that, Daniel?
No, I was just gonna, I mean, it is still, the application is still out there, that, I mean, that if people want to apply, we haven't closed the application window, but yeah, we have a couple, and it'd be prudent for us to meet with those people, and then, like you said, hopefully we can have a recommendation.
Okay, and we are at this time, I guess, close enough, Cheryl, the Aflac representative with you?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't we go ahead and come forward and we'll take that on,
Okay.
and,
I'll try to be quick. I'll try to be fast for you guys, but.
you're fine.
Okay. I'm gonna I gave everyone a copy. I don't know how many of you guys were here. So I'm gonna take one and pass it.
Just like snow.
Yours.
How many am I reading? You've seen it already?
Yep.
Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna talk about,
We'll have you,
oh, sorry.
so you get by the mic and then
I'm not
we'll,
used to this, it was
Well,
so important.
just hang on,
Okay.
we'll get you through it. Then we're gonna ask you to, give us a name and address for
Okay.
record, please.
Yeah. So my name is Carrie Butsky. I've been in Aflac for 12 years.
Okay.
And I'm out of Seward, is where we have an office now. We had one in Lincoln, but I'm from Seward and I have an office in Seward.
Okay.
So what I brought today is, so there's a couple things Sharon and I talked about. Well, one of them was the dental. And so when we were doing our meeting prior to open enrollment,
we had discovered that a lot of employees, they don't have to go to Lincoln for their dental, and this is kind of the feedback we got when we met with employees this year. So they don't like the network on the dental plan that currently is being offered, okay? So everyone's having to travel, a lot of people, not everyone, there's one dentist in town that's in network with the current dental plan. So, we kind of educated them on it, and, they liked that our plan doesn't have a network. So Aflac came out with the new dental vision plan, and there's no network. So they can support the local community and go to the other facilities and go to the dentist here in town, and they're gonna have actually better coverage. So if you wanna flip to your second page, the plan 2 is what we had talked with the employees about. And so obviously the biggest thing is the no network, okay? And then if you go down to basic services, with the other carrier principal, it was only covered at 50%. So they're gonna get 30% more coverage on like cleanings, x-rays, and things of that nature, okay? So they get 30% more coverage, and then, everything's waived, there's like no waiting periods or anything like that, just so you guys already know, since it's moving, if it would be from one carrier to another. And then the other huge benefit the employees had liked, the feedback we got, so the annual maximum went from $1,000 to $1,500 a year per person. If they want to switch to this plan. So they'd get $500 more a year per person. The other, sorry to flip back to the front of this, but if you flip back to the front of the dental plan, the unique benefits also that the other plan didn't have is the deductible decreases. So at year 3, they'll pay $0 deductible if they have to get anything done more than cleanings and x-rays. And then also as long as they're getting their cleanings and x-rays every 6 months, which a lot of people do, then they get a carryover $250 each year. So their maximum right now, again, with principal is $1,000, Aflac is $1,500. They go in, let's say every 6 months get their cleaning and x-ray. Next year, it's gonna go to $1,750. So it's an increasing deductible. And then implants are covered, so a lot of dental carriers don't have implants on there, so that's not a perk. So let's go to price, right? That's the next most important thing. So you have multiple rate sheets. I should have probably just printed the PPO plan 2, the one that we showed them. So currently, these are the semi-monthly rates. So employees are paying $1,683, or they're paying $1,412, I apologize. So it's a $2 difference. And they were okay with that, because they're like, I don't have to drive to Lincoln now to go to the dentist. So I would have spent that in gas anyways. Plus I'm getting $500 more out of pocket and all the other benefits I just went over the differences. Does that make sense to everyone? Am I going too fast?
No, you're good.
The other perks, so then the 34, the principal only has 2 rates. So they have the employee rate and then they have family rate. So their family rate, this one is a little bit more of a difference, but again, those people are also okay with it. It's $38.66 with principal, where the Aflac was $56.31. But again, if they're taking all their family members to Lincoln to get treatment, they had no problem with that. Now on the employee spouse and employee children rate, principal only had those 2 rates, so we actually beat the rate on those ones. Because it's only 34.01 or 37.37. So not much difference on anything besides the family one. So that's kind of the dental. So the other thing that we did is, when we had a meeting with Cheryl, we had told her so basically I'm a district sales coordinator with Aflac, and they had me do an audit on your guys' account, okay? There was I think it was $7,000 or $7,500 worth of unclaimed money. So people can go in for a screening every year. They forget that they can do this, so we have to remind them as an agent. And they weren't being reminded that they could go in and get a cleaning. It could be like an eye exam, a physical, dental cleaning, womanly screening, and then get money back on certain policies we own. So what we did is we performed a claims day for your guys' employees. And our total as of today, which we're still working with people, is $10,650 we've gotten paid. Nobody was aware of this. So we ran a claims day and took the time to get all the guys paid, and females paid, sorry. I was thinking those county guys, they got a lot of claims. But we got them all paid out, so we're at $10,650. So we'll keep you guys updated as we keep getting that increase, but people were really excited about that. They were claiming on things they didn't even know they could claim on. As a county, you guys are saving, this isn't even the full amount, these are just with the plans. We had a really good enrollment, there was a lot of interest, there's a lot of changes that we'll be giving the girls, but this isn't even including dental. The employees are saving $7,795 because you guys are pre-taxing the plans out of their paycheck. So we always tell employers, hey, you're saving money, but we never tell you the dollar amount. So that's how much the employees save by is pre-taxing, so thanks for doing that. There's 72 policies in place. That's not including any of the dental plans that they were interested in, which there was like 85 employees interested in dental. And then the employer, the county is saving $2,385 by doing that. You guys have a tax savings too, before you get taxed. So that's kind of an update on that.
So the main reason we're here today is because this program is 100% employee funded, meaning it's just their funds that are paying to have your product. But
Yes.
because it falls under us, it is essentially our program, and you need our signature to
Yeah.
do.
Yep, it just locks you guys in for 2 years at the rates that we're providing. It's just saying that I'm authorized to offer dental to the county employees. Everything's electronic now. We would have a copy of it obviously after it's signed, but they couldn't give me anything prior. When Cheryl goes through the questions, it's just basically saying, this is the effective date, this is how long it takes until a new hire is eligible. We agree to these costs, and we're signing for the representative to offer it. You would have signed one also with principal when you set it up. They always do it for medical, dental, and vision.
And
It's
there was a
standard.
threshold that needed to be met for you to be able to provide this by
Yeah,
your
we
company
hit it.
standard. And what was that threshold
It was 20% of the employees enrolled, and we had 85 of them, so that one hit.
that are interested?
Mm-hmm,
Okay.
that would like it.
And Carrie, I think you're also changing the enrollment period, so we're gonna go July to December
Yeah.
and then January.
So that's something we'd like to do. All your guys' other benefits are in January, rather than make employees have to talk to their spouse twice a year and do all that. Like, hey, let's look at our entire benefits package. Most of my counties are all at the same time. And so normally we like to line it up at the same time. It's not a huge thing if we don't want to, but it's also nice, like, you guys have what's called a flexible spending account and a dependent daycare account. For that to run January to December instead of mid-year on what their medical expenses are gonna be. It'd be better for them to line it up with their medical plan and their deductibles.
Any questions today? None? Daniel?
Are we, would we be dropping the current offering, or this would be a side-by-side
I
offering?
mean, that's up to you guys, what you wanna do. Most people don't offer to, but like, that's totally up to you. I think honestly, it's gonna fall off anyways, just based on the feedback we got from the employee.
And, if we move forward with this, but you only get 3 signups, what?
We wouldn't,
Happens.
it wouldn't install, we would keep a PPO, again, just from already meeting with the staff one-on-one. That's what they want. I'm not
Sure.
worried about participation, I
Sure.
guess.
Yep.
I'm being very confident about
Right.
it. But I appreciate those questions. Do you want to talk about the health advocate?
Yeah, we just.
Touch base on it quick. I'll give you guys a flyer when I'm done, but basically also everybody's getting a benefit that Aflac provides to the employees, but so everybody's had a medical bill in the mail, right? And you're like, is this right? Or if you guys have ever had like MRI or x-rays, I just had ACL surgery and I got bills from like everywhere and my health insurance was denying it and I like, right? So when you get that in the mail, if I didn't know insurance, people are like, oh my gosh, I have to pay this bill. And they have no idea what to do really with it. So it's gotten worse within the last few years, right, ever since COVID. And so you're constantly arguing with the facility like and your health insurance and calling back and forth to fight for yourself to not to pay this bill because you don't owe the money because you hit your deductible. Well, we have a program that everybody gets it. They don't have to have an Aflac plan and we everybody got this year, but basically they can, it's called Health Advocate. And again, I'll give you guys one of these, but they can submit their medical bill to them and Health Advocate negotiates the bill for them. So basically, like, I think they say on average, it takes like 24 hours total to get like something like that figured out. And so if you're constantly arguing, all you do is take a picture. I'm actually going through it right now with my UCL stuff. But I took a picture of any of my medical bills over $400 and they'll negotiate everything and figure it out between the clinic and the hospital and argue it for you. And so that's a benefit all the employees are getting as well at no cost to you guys. It's a huge benefit if you run into that. So I'll give you guys a copy of that. if that's okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
A lot of these times when there's a conflict between one and the other division, it's because of the coding that they put on it at the hospital,
Right,
or vice versa.
yep,
So it's a coding problem, it's not really an insurance problem. So some of this education should be going to the people that are coding.
I wish I could help them. I understand what you're saying, but that's what the Health Advocate will do, is say, hey, this is coded incorrectly. Do you wanna guess what the percentage of you think, like, that's wrong, of coding? It's 80%. So 80% of coding is wrong, so DD2 should have been DD5, but you're charged $3,000 more. So yeah, it's sickening, but that's where these guys come into play. So what we always educate the staff is, any medical bill over $400, just submit it, then you have peace of mind and know that you got charged correctly. And they'll look at that for you.
Well, this has nothing to do with Aflac, but
Right,
my daughter's husband works for Aurora Co-op.
uh-huh,
And they have a son that needs dental work.
yeah.
All of his impacted or whatever is wisdom teeth. And they went to the dentist that they've been going to for a long, long time, and he no longer accepts their plan. And then they went to another one that was in the plan, and the person that they talked to said, well, you'll have to pay, I think, $700 and some up front. And all your deductibles have been paid, but you can argue with your insurance company to get reimbursed for this,
Right,
which that's never happened before. And then they went to another dentist. My daughter's really busy on the internet.
sounds like
They went
it.
to another dentist, and instead of the $700, it was $7,000.
Wow.
Not in their
Right,
plan. They went to another dentist, and they said it'd be $168 up front. That's a big difference.
yeah. It depends where you go in the dentist's office, they all charge what they want, unfortunately, but yeah. I hear lots of stories, trust me, being in the business for 12 years, but this has helped a lot of our employees already. Like, we've had people from $80,000 bills down to $20,000, you know what I mean? So I know it works, because I've seen it, but
Okay, so basically in front of us, it's to allow Aflac to, have a dental and vision product. in front of-
just dental.
Just dental product in front of our employees. And of course, if they hit that threshold, which she's confident in hitting, then it takes, our signature to make that happen. So, this will not be doing away with the principal one. It's in place as far as we know.
I was gonna look at some other options for principal.
Okay.
From your, meetings with employees, et cetera, and your, looking at this, Cheryl, is your recommendation to go ahead and
Yeah,
offer this to the employees?
yeah. Yeah, I've heard complaints about them not being able to get what they wanted, and
Okay.
I think having another option would be good.
So I broke a tooth last week, can I sign up now?
Okay, so what's your preference, guys?
Well, I move we authorize the option of Aflac being provided to the employees.
Thank you, Woody.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
The Aflac debt.
Roll call, please.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
and Overmark.
Yes, and you'll have the sheet to sign. Thank you.
Thank you, that's your time. I did bring you a duck, so you can keep talking, but.
Okay, it is a couple minutes after 9:15. At this time, we will recess as a board commissioner, and we will convene as the Board of Equalization. Roll call, please.
Brooks,
Present.
Bear,
Here.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Sykes,
Present.
Overmark.
Here, open meetings law is posted on the south side of our chambers, in the hallway outside of our chambers, also on our website. Proof of publication is on our website, along with news times. May 25th was the date of that. Review and approve the minutes of our May 2nd Board of Equalization meeting.
Move to approve.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Bear,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Overmark.
Yes. Adopt today's agenda.
Move to adopt.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Brooks,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Overmark.
Yes. Okay, first up is discuss and act on tax roll corrections. Mr. Assessor.
Mr. Chairman, good morning. You all look well rested and ready to go after the long weekend. I told my office it's another Monday today, so. Your first one that you have, these are all involve homestead applications. The first one on your cover sheet, Randy pointed out to me, I'd made a mistake there. The tax amount that we're correcting is not 32,000, it's 2,145. My fat finger hit the 3 there, I was hitting the 2. That was one where she initially applied and was denied, and then the department reviews all the homestead applications, and they decided she did meet the eligibility requirements, so she was given 100% homestead. The next one, the next 2 actually, it's for the same individual, the homestead is just applied to the wrong parcel. So we just need to correct those as they say there. And that is it.
Any questions of Kurt this morning, other than what you just explained?
And if we could get that signed today, we need to send a form to the state by today, detailing this, today's the deadline for that.
Move to accept the tax roll corrections as presented by the York County Assessor.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Brooks,
Yes.
Ziegler, Sykes,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Overmark.
Yes. Anything else?
We're finishing up folding and stuffing envelopes for the change evaluation notices going out that need to be out by June 1st. So we'll be sending out just a little over 6,300 this year. So talked to some counties, they've sent out more notices than we have parcels in our county. So everyone's kind of all over the place there. So I'll be watching for those this week. And then we kind of briefly discussed protest times. Kelly, do you remember what those were off the top of your head?
I don't think we decided on times.
Okay.
We're gonna do the last one in June and maybe
Right.
July. just
Dates, I
because-
should say,
oh, dates,
yeah. So yeah, I think the last meeting in June, like you said, and then maybe one, we'll see how they
Yeah.
come in this year. So should be a great time.
We'll see it, as far as the numbers come in, if there's a lot of protests, we'll push them, typically we push them into the afternoon. If, we'll look at the agenda for that day and number of protests coming in and make that decision, call later, but.
And then like they'll apply at Kelly's office or file at Kelly's office, the clerk's office for the protest, but they'll hopefully be directed over to the assessor's office so we can visit about it and see if we can get something worked out before they get in here. So just make life easier for everyone. So
I agree.
Thank you, Kurt.
Thank you, gentlemen.
You bet. Okay, next up, we have an application of exemption for a vehicle for Mosaic, Chevy 2012 Malibu. And this was turned in by treasurer, and it was marked approval by the treasurer, so.
So move.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
and Overmeyer.
Yes. Okay, we will adjourn unless there's anything else, but I don't think there is, as the Board of Equalization. I'll get this so signed. And we'll come back in as the Board of Commissioners, and Kurt shagged out of the room.
He did, he ran away. You want me to go grab it?
Yeah, grab him. We've got time before the 9:30 one. Let's go over that. Did you find you?
I did.
Morning again.
Good morning again. Sorry I rushed out.
That's all right. We got time before the 9:30, so we're gonna get this
Oh,
one.
perfect. All right. All right, so as you know, we've been doing some transitioning. Kurt Bolgren, your county assessor. We've been doing some transitioning in the office here since the change of hands in January. We're trying to increase or update or upgrade what we're offering online to the public. Kind of started that off with the new mapping that we're gonna have in place by July 1st. Part of that, with the mapping is if when you click on a parcel to see what on the map there, just to check it out, we'd like the 2-page summary of the property record card to show up with that, just so you can just see the picture next to the property record card. I think that helps everybody. Several counties have that. In order to do that, we need to upgrade our services that we have with Vanguard. And so those were the proposals that I forwarded to, I think I forwarded to all of you guys and also to the county attorney's office. The first one, the property record card online, that one is it is a 1-year. Daniel, you had asked about that. I confirmed with Vanguard, that's a 1-year agreement. That annual payment is $2,700 annually. And that allows then the property record card to be attached to the parcel on our mapping system. The next one, the personal property, that'll allow individuals well, let me back up. First, we need to go to the website. The Vanguard website will allow people to go there to do their property record searches, sales searches, construction searches, all sorts of things there. That amount you'll see at the bottom of that bid is $11,900. You just take that divided by 3 and that's your annual payment there. Then the third one is the personal property agreement, and that would allow a personal property tab to appear on the website. What we'd like to do with that, traditionally what the county assessor's office has done is they print off your personal property return from the previous year, put it in an envelope, send it off to you, and then either people bring them back in themselves, give it to their accountant, do whatever with the process of that way. What we would like to transition towards is sending out a postcard instead of a letter to remind people that their personal property returns are due May 1st. And here's a link where you can go to access your personal property information. And that's where this personal property link will come into play there. Eventually down the road, what I'd like to offer is for people to e-file their personal property returns, but there's one county that's kind of the guinea pig for that right now, and I don't want to be involved with that until all the bugs are worked out on that one. And so that's, again, down the road, probably 2 or 3 years yet. But this is kind of a good start to get people down that path.
And the cost associated, the personal property was much lower, obviously.
Right, it was $1,650, again, divide that by 3, and that's your annual cost for that, so. And they did say that because we are in the transitioning our G-Works, our GIS mapping, that they would give us this service from today, when you get if we sign this today, if you guys agree to sign this today, from today until November, we would get this service at no charge, and then you get billed annually every November for the Vanguard services.
And these would be the numbers, not prorated till November, these are the November numbers.
These are the numbers you would see in November on the statement that comes in,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
I just asked him to send me some information so I could get to working on my budget. So I could include that in the budget request for this year, so.
And I believe that you had talked briefly about how the county attorney's, the only question the county attorney's office had on it was how do we, if we so choose,
Right, they had
move
two,
apart from each other.
right, they had 2 questions, was what did it cost? When I sent them these agreements initially, I didn't include the proposal on the backside of it, so I resent that to them. And those bids explain themselves. As far as if we wanted to terminate our agreement with Vanguard, I did talk to a county that has done that. It was just a few years ago, and they said it wasn't too terrible. You just sat down with them and you just figured it out. So, and Vanguard was very easy to work with them in that transition, so.
Well, them being, and Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, if these are 1-year contracts, which they are, I mean, that would be obviously the time to break that contract.
That would be correct. The concern, so I was the one that personally reviewed the contracts. The concern was that a lot of these contracts that companies send out have one-sided termination clauses on them. So they can terminate for any reason that they decide to, but we can only terminate by deliberately defaulting on the payments. And so it's not a Vanguard specific thing. This is every industry that we've been reviewing lately. So for our purposes, if we're gonna pay for a year, we might as well use a full year. And then if it turns out that this is not the service we thought it was going to be, choose not to renew the following year and you're good to go.
Right. Thank you.
Kind of similar what we did with G-Works.
Yes.
Their renewal was coming up and then we decided not to renew at that time, so.
So currently, when I go to the website and pull up the map and put in my address, we're working off of G-Works at this point. We're not working off Vanguard, but we're
Correct.
making that transition soon.
Correct.
With the signatures of this.
Yep.
But we'll still have the same information, size of the building, pictures, sketches, all of that same information.
That's the goal.
And available to me to look at anybody in the county based on address or even a name.
Right, yep, search by name, I think it's deed holders, how they describe it on there, or address, or legal description, however you wanna do that. And I always found that when I was sitting in your seats up there, when there were property protests coming through that time of year, it was always kinda helpful to be able to access that information, do your own homework that way, so.
Daniel?
It's leaving me. These 3-year, payments, is it a lump sum? Do we know, do we pay it in a 3-year, like in November, do we pay for the next 3 years, or is it, an annual payment?
It's an annual payment, yeah, so yeah, we're not doing any lump sum, like, we're not paying the whole 11,900, I think that's for the website or whatever. No, you just divide that by 3 and that's your annual payments.
Okay.
So,
So, I guess a few thoughts. The property record card agreement, I think that's good. I think that's good information to include with our GIS and have that information available. The website, basically what that's giving us is just a more centralized place and maybe a little more streamlined searching. Is that kind of?
yeah, and I think you can also have a link on there to your mapping as well.
Okay, right.
I think Holt County, maybe Nemaha has that on their Vanguard website. So you can put, I think, whatever links on there that you want to, so.
Through maybe a going here and going there and going here, we can do what it would provide to us. It's just more, you gotta go over here and do a little searching, gotta go over here and do a little searching. whereas this would be all in one
It'd be all in one place.
place.
Right.
Okay.
With the exception being like the personal property, if we didn't have the website, then we wouldn't have the access to the personal property.
Okay, yep,
Because we have no means of searching that online at this time.
right. Which then takes me to that, I guess that one I'm a little bit hesitant on maybe. I mean, it's all public information, but this makes it very public. Very easy to go look at what the neighbor paid for their personal property. Yeah, it's all public record and everything, but if you have to go into the courthouse and inquire and have somebody bring it up, it's just oh, well, I'm not gonna do that. If it's all on a website, it's pretty easy just to go in and sit down and look. So that one I'm
Sure.
hesitant on.
And it's the same with the real estate too. You can go on there, and we have that now, you can go on there, you can say how much each building's valued.
Yep.
The sales for those, for a parcel, whether it's residential or ag or commercial, that's all out there as well. Yeah, it's like I said, it's all public information.
Right.
The personal property, there's no retention schedules attached to that, it's just the form and what they're listing, so
Sure.
the documents you get from the federal government
Right.
listing everything out that
Yeah.
sometimes has, your social security number and stuff on there. None of that's included on there.
Right.
There's no personal, real personal information that you really don't want getting out there on those.
I think I guess what I see the assessor's office doing is wanting to update and get everything digital and try to make it flow a little easier.
Modernize the office a
We're
little bit, if you
behind
want to call it that.
in the terms of doing that. This also would, comes with a cost of roughly $7,000 annually that we'll have to come up with to help pay for it. I would assume it would come out of the contracts and agreements that we already have in our data processing. We already allow that in there for other ones, so I assume that's where this would come out of. It would be in the next budget years where we'd have to find a spot for it.
Right, and I could probably look to see how much money we're saving moving to a different mapping system. Maybe, and probably have more savings there than what these contracts cost combined too.
And there was no problem getting this up and running in the month's time that we hope to have it up and running in.
Right. The main thing is the property record card, getting that agreement signed as soon as we can so they can get that going, so that can be ready to launch with the new mapping website on July 1st. But even if it's signed today, they're not too concerned about that being able to get that, so.
And the other mapping that we did, they talked about doing some public education on how to do that. Is Vanguard, would they be with that education, or would we?
Could be, I could talk to them about that, see what they'd be willing to do there.
Because really, this is what we're doing this for the public.
Exactly.
I mean, they're the ones using this the most.
Right. And all different aspects of the public, whether it's just the common taxpayer, or the realtor, or the banker, or the title agent, probably it's those folks are probably the latter ones, probably the ones that use it the most, but it's, there for anybody, so.
Okay. Any other questions of Kurt this morning? We can take these one at a time. Would probably be the best if you want to do it that way. And just approve, or I guess if somebody wants to lump them all together, they can sure do that in a motion too. But there is the property record card, the website, and the personal property in separate pieces.
I would make a motion that we approve the Vanguard property record card agreement and estimate.
Second.
Thank you.
And that's the $11,900 contract.
No, that's the
That's the
2,700.
$2,700 annually.
Yes, that was the only one that was offered as an annual, the amount at the bottom was an annual payment. The other two were a 3-year.
Locked in
It
for 3
does,
years.
on that, might not hurt to just clarify with them, that 1,500, it seems like that would be a one-time, that's a licensing, and then the other seemed like it was an access, but,
The service fee for like probably I would call that like your maintenance.
right,
annual maintenance
exactly.
fee, yeah.
So I wonder if if they told us it was 2,700 annually, then they should know, so it should be that. But, I wonder if because the 1,500 seems like that's the build out, and then so if we're lucky, the 1,200 would be our annual, but if they said 2,700, then it's probably 2,700 annually.
Yeah, and I did email him this morning after we had
Okay.
visited,
Yep.
and he did confirm that.
Okay, very good.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Brooks,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Obermeyer.
Yes. Okay, we're doing them one at a time. Up next would be the website then, and this is the one with 11,900 over a 3-year period. Paid a third.
Which one did you say this was?
This is the website.
Website, and I move that we agree to the website upgrade at the $11,900
Over 3 years.
over the 3-year period,
Yes.
to be paid on an annual basis, 1/3.
Yep. Thank you, Jack.
That annual amount is $3,966.67.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Just a quick, in talking to other counties that have the Vanguard website, do they have fairly good, user, acceptance of it? Have they done any type of study, or have they got any feedback as far as people saying, hey, this is awesome, I'm glad you have this?
Yeah, that I don't know. I feel like there might be a little ticker on there that counts
Okay.
how many visits they've had.
Sure,
And I
yep,
can't remember exactly how many each one has had, but I remember seeing that ticker on there.
Okay.
So, and it's something, if we do this for 2 or 3 years and we're seeing, it's only 5 people visited a year, then yeah, it's probably not worth having, so.
Right.
Any other? Roll call.
Sykes,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Brooks,
yes,
and Obermeyer.
Yes, okay. Last up then is the personal property card. And that one be $1,650 for a 3-year.
I do have reservations on this one. I get the want and need to, move forward, move into the 21st century, be digital, etc. It's just putting a lot of information readily accessible. I get that, again, it's all public information, we can go find it if we want to. I'm just hesitant to throw it out there.
And I get, and, someone puts up a new pivot, you being a farmer, you're gonna know about what that pivot's gonna cost.
Right.
So it's not gonna.
Right, exactly.
So everything that's on there, you're probably gonna have a good idea of what's maybe on other people
Sure.
or whatever,
Yep.
it's just right there.
Yep.
So,
To me, it's just the readily available, your privacy is just shrinking. And not that it isn't advantageous for you to have a record, but to put it out there for the world, if I wanna find out how much the pivot costs across the road, and I come in here, well, then I really have to want it to come in here, but to just pop it up on the internet and say, no. That I almost feel like it's some sort of an invasion of my privacy or somebody else's privacy. Not that it isn't helpful to you, if there's a way to have it for you to be available, so you could pull it up immediately and say, here you are, you came in to ask about this, here it is, but then not put it on the web so it's out there for the world to see. That's a little different.
And we can do that. If you had personal property, I don't know if you do or don't, but if you did, come up to the window, type in your name or your parcel identification number, and we can pull it right up right there at the window, so.
But then not put it on, for the whole county to see, not put it on.
Currently, we don't have the ability to do that.
Right. And I think that's an advantage for
Okay.
If, I mean, if the pilot program for the e-file goes well, you know, it might be something that I'd be willing to revisit when that was available and when you were ready to go forward on that.
Sure. And I need to learn more about that too.
Right.
What's all goes with that as well, so. Again, I wasn't interested in doing that this
Right.
year.
Yep.
So I didn't spend time on that one,
Yep.
so.
What's your wishes?
Well, I'd move that we do the personal property record card for use within the county assessor's office, but not make it active for the world to see, not put it on the internet for everybody to see.
And we do have that already.
We already do.
Yep, on our camera system, we already can go in there. If Daniel wants to, check on it, just to make sure his return, if there was something that should not have been on there or should have been on there, he can stop by the office, we can look that up online, not a problem. This would just instead of us mailing out all the personal property returns that we mail out every single year, we would just be sending out a postcard that has a link saying, go here or give it to your accountant. You can go here, print that off, and then send it in. So we're trying just to save a lot of paper going in and out of the courthouse and postage.
And so then you're not proposing that this information be put on the internet so that Woody Ziegler can look up what Kurt's new.
There would be a link on the website that would say personal property. You could click on there and then you could type in Ziegler and then it would come up how many ever Zieglers there are, just like you would like if you're searching real estate.
Right.
You just be searching personal property like you do real
But what
estate.
I'm asking is, can I put in Bulgren and look what Bulgren
Sure.
has now?
Right.
Not,
Well, no, not
not today,
Not today, you couldn't.
but if we approve this agreement, you could.
Right.
Can it be built so that the information's there for you to use within the office like we currently have, but not active for the county, anybody in the county? to
It
see?
is, and
Can't in the future, this new agreement with Vanguard.
This new agreement is only for the website, public facing side.
right.
So it would not change his back, office, abilities,
Right.
you know.
So currently, like this last filing year, the returns were due May 1st. If Daniel came in on April 1st with his schedule and everything, we'd stand out at the window and we'd add things that need to be added, take things off that need to be taken off, and then we would just print it out, he'd sign it, boom, it was done.
Right.
So we do have access to it electronically within our office.
Right.
And again, it's a self-reporting tax too. So whatever Daniel tells me, I'm going on based on he's an honest guy and he's being honest about what he has out there. So it's kind of almost maybe a check and balance in case there are people that aren't,
Sure.
If you're farming across the road from someone and I'm reported all my pivots, he put a new pivot up there, why didn't he report his? It kind of helps create that equalization, if you want to call it that we have in property assessment, the department hopes that we have. So, but yeah, everything right now we have in our office, we have access to at our fingertips. Like Daniel said, this agreement would just give Jack the ability to see what Woody has sitting at his desk in his office at home. So, and if you want to stop by the office after the meeting here today, I can show you what we're talking about. So,
Gentlemen, I thought we was wrapping up a little quicker than we was. We did have a 9:30 that we blew by, so if there needs to be more discussion, we'll come back to this. If not,
I guess at this time, I feel, I'm not on board enough that I would probably make a motion to pass on the personal property agreement and estimate at this time.
okay. So we have a motion and a second to not do the personal property segment on the Vanguard website. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Brooks,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
and Overmark.
Yes, okay. Thank you, Kurt.
Thank you,
We'll
gentlemen.
get going on those other ones.
Yep, here. Those agreements. You get those signed.
You
Bring
bet.
by.
We'll get them back to you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Ladies,
I'm Katie North, and this is
we'll
Susan.
get you up by the microphone so the public that's viewing us out in yonder.
Thank you.
This is our annual report. And if you have any questions, we're here to answer them.
Now, when you get behind the microphone, we'll have you names, please.
Okay, I'm Katie North, a volunteer at York Adopted Pet. This is Susan Redabaugh, and she is the shelter manager.
Thank you.
And we put in our request for $5,000 for support for the county, for what we do in the county to pick up animals and take care of them.
Anything in this report that you feel like you should highlight, rather than the guys looking at everything?
Our expenses have gone up for example, we spay and neuter every pet that comes in, which is about, probably 90% of them need spayed or neutered when they come to our shelter before we can adopt them out. And those expenses have gone up 24%. We give all of the dogs and cats rabies shots before they're adopted, and they've gone up 33%. So those expenses have gone up. So essentially, that's kind of where we're sitting.
Now, back on page 5, I believe I come on the numbers. It's got York, City of York, York County, and then outside of York County.
Yes.
Explain the outside of York County. Are these, how far outside do we go to pick?
We don't actually, those are just owner surrenders, so
Okay.
per se, somebody from Lincoln calls us and say, do you have, or they've adopted from us, and they are being put in a nursing home, and so they have to bring their animals back to us, because we take them back. So those would be the surrenders outside of the county area. Basically, that's what we're doing. Every now and then, we'll get somebody that will bring in their animal from out of county. We normally don't take out of county animals, but they'll bring in their animals, and we'll say we don't take them, and we'll have to go pick them up because they'll have dropped them off on the way home. So, and we know that those animals are out of county because we saw them, you know, so those are two examples of animals that are out of county. Or, we did have some kittens that were from Osceola, I believe. She couldn't care for them any longer, so she did bring us the kittens for us to take care of. It's just really tough right now because every shelter in the area is full, so. And that's nationwide, so we try to help out as best we can.
Do you have the ability, I know a lot of pet owners, when we look at the stray numbers, chip their pets, do you have the
Yes,
ability
we
to
do
read?
that. We
scan?
do it at a minimal cost. So if they come in to chip their animal, we charge them $15. And that's basically the cost of the chip that we pay for. I mean, it's not even, if you do it at the vet, it's about $60 or higher. So we
Okay.
do it at a minimal cost.
So if somebody stray comes into you, and you scan it, realize, okay, it's this person here, you can contact them.
Yes,
And they
yes.
pay that $15
Yes.
Okay. Any questions you guys may have? This is obviously, a budget, you know, for years, I believe it's been 4,000. As you look back at the expense and the request is up, I assume, hearing the 24%, that's where you're coming up with the extra 1,000, 25% up from what you asked last year, or previous years. And as you see the numbers, you know, obviously there's a bunch of pets, from within the county that, and
the
it
sheriff
keeps our
does not.
sheriffs.
They do not pick up pets.
Right.
I got a call yesterday. I was in Omaha visiting my kids and grandkids, and I got a call to go pick up a dog from the sheriff's department. But I wasn't in town, so dispatch called me.
It is a service they provide us, so our deputies do not have to do. Any other questions? While they're here, obviously we'll add it to the budget and we'll decide when it's budget time, but. Well, I'm not hearing anything, so unless you have anything else to say, you're good. We appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you very
Thanks for
much.
the information.
Thank you.
Okay, unless I missed something in all these scribbles here, we are at the end. So we are up to committee reports. Who wants to start?
I can start. I went to the roads department committee meeting this morning, and what he told us is repeated here. So I have nothing to add.
Okay.
That's the only committee I went to. The only one I had. That's it for me.
Daniel?
Last week, we had a internet outage here at the courthouse. I think it was more than just the courthouse, most of the town probably was
And
out.
further
if
than
they-
that, I think.
Right. So in all things, you hope that you're prepared, but you find out when, quote, disaster happens, there's areas where you can improve on. So we did find that we're not completely set up for backup internet for the greater part of the courthouse. So we need to, we do have a backup available, and so we just need to work to make sure that the next time we have an outage that we're connected to that backup so we can continue business as we can. It also may be a good time to look at who is providing us internet connectivity services. So can reach out to a couple members of the tech committee and maybe see if we can't get some quotes on making, just to make sure that we are with the correct provider, and if we're not, that we make a change.
Now, on that, Daniel, too, that was not just the internet, it was
Phone lines,
phones
correct.
also,
Phones were
right?
also down, that is correct.
So, and the redundancy in there is a little bit harder to come by.
Yep.
Because then you would be actually paying for two.
Right.
And only using one the
Yep.
majority of the time.
Yep.
So I think we look at that as a whole. When we're looking at providers.
Sure. Yep. Yep.
Our
continue.
notification, excuse me.
No, you're fine, go ahead.
I didn't mean to-
No worries.
Our notification system that we have,
Yes.
it seems like we've been notified several times about the non-emergency phone lines being down for the police and the sheriff. And I'm just curious as to, is anything being done to correct that problem?
Right.
Other than just notifying us, well, it's gonna be out until 5:30.
Right.
You know, that's, when they went to this system that we have now, there's no one over at the police department at night. And I personally have called down there at night, not with an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't wanna call 911
Right.
because a cat walked across the street. You get my drift?
Right.
But still, you wanted to get a hold of somebody to do something at night. And I talked to the sheriff's department because they didn't even give me, or couldn't give me a police department number to call.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And, I think that, well, that's a major problem that we need to look at.
Sure.
And I did bring some pictures of, the reason I called. You might not consider an emergency, but if somebody fall in that hole,
Right.
I'd be liable for it, and I didn't do it.
Right, Bill. So yeah, so, maybe that's direction to look at both, phone providers and internet providers.
And there are options now. that
Right.
Weren't in existence 6 months ago.
Sure, yeah, exactly. Website, we're continuing to build that out. Eric's meeting with department heads. So, all the department heads and officials, were asked to have information, to him by the end of this month. And then he will continue to build out the template and provide a test link, so we can review, and then I believe, looking towards first part of July to go live with our new website. So moving along there, couple things, we had talked about what we want from a board's perspective on those, like on a board's website. We need to kind of think about how Kelly and I were talking before the meeting. It's good to have the minutes readily accessible out there. We just kind of need to know how far back we want to go. Currently, they're on there to 2013. I don't know what our size limit is, as far as how much info how many documents and whatnot we can have out there. But so that's something that we need to kind of think about as a board, of how much we want to go back. Kelly, of course, has them way back if somebody wants to come in and review those, but this would just kind of be out there readily accessible. Let's see. We heard here about costs increasing. I was reading over the NERMA insurance email that we got, fairly significant increase in our premium this year. Probably not surprising, but still is a big jump. And I think that pretty much covers everything for now anyway.
Well, I didn't have any official meetings. I did go to the Greenwood Cemetery Memorial for the veterans. I've heard comments that it was a very good program this year. Mary Scott was one of the speakers. She does an excellent job. And I know that everybody sitting in this room has probably been listening to the news about raising the debt ceiling. And they come to a compromise, and one of those items in that compromise was that they're thinking about recalling ARPA funds that have not been spent. and that are not designated, and they haven't been spent. And this was not something that we considered a little while back. We've got some money, quote, earmarked for things, but that's not spent. And the way that, I understand it, and I may be wrong, but the way I understand it, if they decide to recall that, we're gonna lose that, whatever it is right now, 2 million?
I think that's more on the federal level than it is on the levels that's been given to the states and the communities and
They
stuff
didn't
like
say
that.
that, they said recalling ARPA funds.
Right, on, like I say.
They didn't say it was just gonna be federal funds.
I mean, I'm assuming, obviously, but there's a bunch of money out there that was thrown around that never did hit anywhere, and,
So when we started off, Randy, you remember that they had so many restrictions as what we could do with that money, that we didn't do anything with it because we was trying to follow all the restrictions. Then they took away the restrictions and said we could spend it on almost anything. And now they're saying, well, if you haven't spent it, we may take it back.
yeah, I'm guessing that we would have to ask our NACO as the national, for clarification on that, but, I mean, obviously they haven't passed anything federally yet.
They haven't,
Right.
he hasn't signed it, and the Congress hasn't passed that
Right.
raising. But you can better believe that when they start threatening Social Security, veterans benefits, they didn't say anything about taking away their pay, but taking away all of the retired people's pay that's been living on Social Security and in Medicare, Medicaid, or whatever. They're the first ones they threatened because it scares the most people. They'll get it passed. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Woody, you got anything?
I didn't have committee meetings. I did get to the Gresham Fire Days up at Gresham, and then I was at the Waco Memorial Services and stuff too. And that's where I had the housing question brought up to me. Safely got to Wisconsin for our daughter's retirement celebration. Back, so glad to be home, prepping for the next trips.
Is that everything? Okay, the construction projects are going, as Chris mentioned, the attorney's office was carpeted over the weekend, and that additional office, and obviously, I don't know if it's locked up there, they're not in there, it may be open if you want to slip up and see it, but there was an additional office added within the office and carpeted, and that is almost done. They'll get moved back in this week. The construction projects that we've got going in the courtrooms, I think Cal is getting pretty close to the punch list. Because we were supposed to be ready to go first part of June. Not sure when the states come in to do the upgrades, but I think he's really close on that one. As we see, Melanie has joined us back at the head table, and I've had comments from people that have learned this, and look forward to see whatever it turns out to be. And then I'd also heard that there's something in the works that's going at the radio station too. So you're a busy lady, so welcome, and look forward to seeing some of this in print. I did have a small meeting this last week with Mitch Bartholomew, looking ahead at the postcard bill, the bill notification, there you go. And I think we'll be looking at meeting as a group, meaning the schools, us, everybody involved, and just maybe trying to come up and formulate a little better plan. This year, last year was the first year, it was kind of confusing, the timeframes didn't seem to fit. Superintendents have got their lobbyist groups, we have ours, and I think it'd be a good idea for us to all get together. Mitch, obviously, thought it was a great idea, so sometime in the near future, before we really get going into the budget, we'll try to get those together and see how that's working. And as we've seen today with Adopt-A-Pet, a budget requests are slowly coming in. We gave our officials another couple weeks, I believe till the 12th, seems to me.
The 16th.
16th, okay, somewhere in there, so we'll be working, Daniel, myself, and the budget committee will start compiling those and getting those up and ready to go. That's the main thing that's been going on in our world here, other than signing stuff every once in a while. Did you have anything this morning? You got nothing, okay.
It's nice to see Melanie here and get the information. I took pictures of a couple of bridge projects that were going on down there on Road 20 by us and stuff. I sent them to Harvey, but I'll send them to Melanie now so she can get them up to Eric and get them posted and stuff, you know, just so people know what's going on. Visually, it's a little better, a lot better than just a text message saying such and such is good.
Yep, and it sounds like our construction project will come in.
Yeah.
You know, we were using that one as a lid exemption, and we needed it done and billed by the 30th, so it sounds like that'll get done, so that should make us happy. Once we see the bill, we maybe won't be happy anymore, but if we don't have anything else.
I was just gonna
You
make a
got one
little
more
smart
thing?
ass comment. It's a good thing Melanie's back, because I announced that it was my first meeting with the 911, and then when I read in the paper, I found out it wasn't me, it was somebody named Jake.
Oh. Jake Sykes. Okay, if I hear nothing else, we are adjourned.